What's going on, people? YouTube land, Facebook Live. What's good? We getting ready to get it popping. The Lomachenko fight is about to jump off. Now, I was about to really get into breaking it down round by round, but what happened is they got the Povetkian fight getting ready to come on, so we got to kind of go through that. But you guys just missed an absolute crazy controversy. For those of you who are not tuning into ESPN Plus, bananas. Martinez versus Edwards. It was very great. 3 rounds of fighting, almost Hagler Hernish, but it was one-sided. A late blow to the body stops the fight. He was already taking a knee, that was. But what was so crazy about it is, it's so amazing in the sport of boxing how just in 1 second the entire sanctity of what's going on can just totally turn it off. And for 1 second you're the world champion, and 15 seconds later a rule that they don't even have the power to govern takes it and snatches it away, makes it a no contest. Should have been a disqualification. Either way, the title does not change hand. Has to be the shortest reigning championship title in history. 15 seconds. But it was good. But I will break this down. But before I get started, my name is Eric Ibrelli, aka The Real Fight Doctor, and there is no other on this level. Back to the topic at hand. We getting ready to get into some serious Lomachenko. And for my audience over at Facebook, we're about to break it down and get into a little bit of this final thing that happens when a fighter goes through a 10-week camp against a guy with the pedigree of someone like Campbell. And people are just writing them off, but you don't understand the sport of boxing. It just looks so much different than what it really is. It's so much tougher. You just don't understand some of the ebbs and flows that a fighter experiences and goes through in the camp. But whenever you have that a part of your cachet, your fight game, your fight life, that's why when we hashtag things to fight life, the casual fans don't quite understand it. So that's why we bring it in. But man, I'm trying to tell you, when you see someone that comes in there with the pedigree of a Lomachenko, man, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And if you guys are Lomachenko fans, let me hear you. As a matter of fact, tell me where you're from. I want to know who you got in this fight. If you do have Lomachenko winning, how will he beat a guy? Explain down in the comment box, how does he plan to beat a guy with a longer reach? How do you beat someone with a longer reach? First and foremost, you better know something about boxing. Let me explain 2 things when it comes down to boxing. There are guys that are born with the talent to fight, right? So basically, they can just fight. But what they use boxing for is to transition them from those sticky moments. So that's where the rules come into play, where keeping your hands up and making sure you're stepping around whenever the onslaught's coming and you're creating angles, because you can naturally fight. Like you just were born with the instincts of a tiger. And you just really smooth with it, like Sweet Pea. So Sweet Pea has the ability to box. He had the natural instinct to get away from punches and was a great fighter. So you didn't see the second half. You didn't see him fighting. Well, he fought in the Olympics, like fought. Then the end of his career, he fought. He didn't use boxing. That's one type of fighter. A guy who can naturally fight and uses boxing for the perimeter of his skill set to minimize what can happen to him in the world of getting countered. Then you have the guy who's a pugilist at boxing because he's not a natural fighter. Guys who, when you put him in a situation to fight, I'm going to say one guy, Frank Bruno. He boxed. Shouts out to you guys. I love watching and rocking with you guys. YouTube land, y'all get it popping. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to keep learning about this good stuff. But what was so amazing about Frank Bruno is Frank Bruno was a heavyweight cut and shriddle. And for those who have never seen him, pull up Frank Bruno versus Lennox Lewis. This is when I knew that Lennox Lewis was not a boxer. Lennox Lewis can bump. Okay, Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno. Lennox Lewis was 6'5.25". Frank Bruno was 6'3", but with crazy long arms, shoulders out to here, pecs, ripped abs, fought Mike Tyson. The thing about it is, when he had lost to Mike Tyson, he lost to Mike Tyson surely on the fact and the lack of ability to fight. Knuckle down, put that thing, bite down on that mouthpiece and go mano a mano and dig down into those things that boxing skills do not provide. Courage. I mean, not plain courage. I'm talking about courage if you got a bullet hole in you and you can almost see your rib cage and you still trying to fight or survive or save someone else. You put it all to the side. Lennox Lewis was getting outboxed by Frank Bruno. Pulled his fight up. It's a good fight too. And he wasn't used to being outboxed because he was so big and nobody had a better jab than he did. Frank Bruno, pow, pow. He was winning the rounds. I think the 7th round came around. And Lennox Lewis was just kind of feeling them shots, man, because Frank Bruno was a big boy. But he wasn't a natural fighter. He learned to box to kind of pull him into that echelon of top elite fighters. And if you wonder why I'm looking over here, I'm looking at YouTube, people. And YouTube, if you wonder why I'm looking over here, I'm looking at Facebook. What he did is Lennox, you could just see in that 7th round, he was just like, forget it. He knuckled up. He walked out of the corner, just kind of looked at Emmanuel Stewart like, I don't need no more instruction. He went out there, and he just went for the fence, backyard after the club kind of fight. Start slinging them hammers. Boom, boom. Frank Bruno, drunk, bobbling all over the place. The UK's pride and joy. And Lennox was trying to prove over there in the UK that there is no other on this level. I don't care where you claim. And when he brought that pain, man, he brought that pain. Bam, bam, boom, boom. Just like I show you how to fight when I'm teaching you the offensive techniques that I show you on the videos. I put one out there, how to use like the offense of the peekaboo behind the great defense of the peekaboo, and learn and teach you how to turn them shots over, slip their head over, come over, rake, rock, and be out of there. And that's boxing, but behind a violent fighting style, which is the peekaboo. So when you see that, what you want to do is you want to say, am I getting enough reps boxing? And am I getting enough reps fighting? You got to learn that. So that's one of the things that you get from like the style of the peekaboo. You might be able to box in the peekaboo, but only real killers, fighters, could take it to the next level, like Jose Torres, Mike Tyson, Jack Dempsey. The Dempsey roll was a kind of what we call a segue into the peekaboo. All right, Dempsey roll, come off that front foot, bow, that power. Nasty guy who just simply learned to box, to comb off the edges and polish off his fight game. That's what he was. That's why they call Jack Dempsey the Manasseh Mauler and master what we call the Dempsey roll. Any of you familiar with the Dempsey roll? If you're not, you need to get punch pads for pros. That's Master 3. And what it does is give you kind of like a breakdown of how to generate extreme force on your punch power and knock a guy out. Hey, it's the hurt business. And that's one of the things that Frank Bruno did not have in his repertoire. He didn't have that nasty, savage beast inside of him. That's why when he fought Tyson the first time, he probably thought, oh, okay, I fight him the next time I fight him. But when he came into that ring, he was scared to death. You know why? Because Tyson was a fighter who just so happened to have the greatest coach and mentor in the history of the sport of boxing, groom his fighting style and give him the most profound boxing style broken and put away. The mold is gone. The mold is gone of it looking like that. And this new era, we've manipulated it to fit more fighters, taller fighters, less aggressive fighters. We use bits and pieces of it, and that's what great things are when it comes to stuff like dance. You got guys like Lomachenko that was taught dance. He mixed up enough dance into his boxing. Holyfield did the same thing. When it comes down to football, they do the same thing in football. Lynn Swan did it, one of the greatest receivers to ever lace them up. That's what you do. And we took enough of the peekaboo for different style fighters and give them that opportunity to knock cats out. Now, you guys have the ability to really learn these things, and that's what we do. And for those out there on YouTube, you don't follow me, you need to go out there, Master Boxing. Follow us across the board. Check us out, because y'all know over here, we got 100,000 on Facebook following. You need to catch up. We getting it popping. Lomachenko has a lot of those variables in the peekaboo. Y'all know what he do. He here all the time, off the side. It's hard to learn. And any of you coaches, you trainers, if you my boys out there from Norfolk, if my people up from DC, Philly, shout me out. The UK, raise your flag. China, Hong Kong, you know who I'm talking to. You know what it is. Cheers with beers. Let's see how he unravels. Like I said, how do you expect Lomachenko to go in there against a world champion, elite level fighter who has an Olympic pedigree? And for those who've never fought and never been around real fighting, there is a humongous difference between typical fighters and guys who groomed going up from level to level to level to level and getting their butts whooped, understanding that you have to continue to get better and better and better and better. People like Tom Brady, they continue to get better and better because they keep running against people that's better than they thought when they thought they've seen the pinnacle. And then you keep on playing and you keep realizing, Jesus, there's more unicorns out here than I thought. So what do? You got to keep getting better, honing your craft, polishing up those things, learning how to take it and elevate it to the next level. Campbell, how are you going to work against a guy who's literally the Matrix? And we know who the real Matrix was. Sweet Pea Purnell Whitaker, rest in peace. We will be up in Virginia Beach raising money for the foundation. So tilt your cap, get your wallet out. You better support the greatest of all time when it comes down to the defensive prowess and ring generalship. Sweet Pea Purnell Whitaker, the 88 Olympics gold medalist, world champion. Been in there against all of them. And they all proclaimed that he was the toughest fight they'd ever had. Imagine getting punched in the mouth and swinging for the air for the rest of the night. That was what it was like fighting Sweet Pea Purnell Whitaker. But Lomachenko has a lot of the peekaboo. He has a lot of the Matrix, like Sweet Pea. He has a little bit of that Willie Pep. Hell, I like the way he raked from body to head like Ray Robinson. Like I said, man, it's all about how you own your craft. And he continues to challenge himself like Houdini, going underwater for 3.5, 4 minutes almost. You know, he's an absolute savage, because when you in the ring fighting, you don't know this from a person who's not in a gym. We have to groom guys in a way that whenever they felt like they was at their peak, we got to push them to a place to make them feel like they never done anything in their lives. So when you see what Lomachenko does, he continues to push himself further than an opponent can. And that's why when he fought Linares, he was able to get up off the canvas and he was able to take that fight and make Linares put his hands in his pocket. Touch, 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 touch. Bam! Those what you call change-up speed punches. We teach that in Art of Sparring. The download breaks down not the basic things that you learn, but it teaches you how to actually outthink, outwork a guy, hit him when he least wants to be hit, strike him in a fluid manner in which he does not see the punches coming, and hide your hammer behind a bunch of flurry-like punches, whether you take it to the body or hide it in an uppercut. The Art of Sparring. everything we do is to take you to levels that typical people are not going to understand. So it's hard to look at it and quite understand it, because when you've done the game and been in the sport for 25 years, you understand things that most people won't. So take it with a grain of salt, apply it with some of your guys, and then you'll see that when it comes down to knowing this sport, and guys like Lomachenko, the footwork, I got a video, it's Masterful Footwork 1 on the website that shows how I broke down the systematic movements of Lomachenko's footwork and transitioned it, and showing you how to flurry and showing you how to be somewhere else when the guy's ready to counter and hide your punches. So, you know, if you haven't, you check that out, go check it out. Get your pennies together, because our stuff is the kind of stuff that really takes you to another level. So, you know, we are not ashamed of what our products are and what they're priced, because our stuff is what we call the stuff that make you much, much better, and we take you to the next level. So when you see this fight coming up with Campbell, he has people surrounding him that have shown him how to really elevate his boxing cachet to a point that some people are truly saying and believing that if he understands how to make Lomachenko get uncomfortable. And now I'm gonna explain what Campbell, this is what I would tell Campbell. Week 3 of camp, I'd have him carved up, because what I'm going to push him through in weeks 4, 5, and 6, it's going to be in a dark place, because I'm going to have him get hit a lot of times trying to perfect the craft of what we call setting traps. So when you set a trap, you don't walk forward on the guy. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why you don't walk forward on a guy when you're setting traps is you let him start to take the lead. And when that guy takes the lead, he starts to believe his own stuff. He starts to get the bully mentality. So once he gets the bully mentality, then you can play the matador and you can see things coming. Now you have to have that fluidity of the ollie moves where you backpedaling and see you on your back foot, you're setting up to deliver that shot. So I want Lomachenko working forward, because he can't release the level and volume of punches that blind me. So I eliminated one of the better things that he can do, which is blinding you, pop, 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 boom, and then off to the side and bam. So if I'm walking back, pulling him back, changing the speed up, I'm setting him up and walking Loma into the short right hand left hooks, which are the two best punches to hit a southpaw with, and especially someone that hits as crispy and with such a high percentage as Lomachenko. The next thing is I'm not aiming for his face. I'm trying to hit him in the chest and let the second shot touch him to the temple, jaw, or eardrum. Why is that? Because he's gonna duck and slip, because he's very good and elusive. We're gonna rake the body as it opens up. We're gonna shift and walk forward, on and off. But the main game plan is to fight off your back foot and make him take the role of the bully. That's what we will work on. And he will get crushed in camp many days. But by the time week 7 and 8 come, game plan strategy will be settled into his muscle memory. And I'm a strategist when it comes down to the science of fighting, because you either were born with this or you just don't learn it. Now I can teach you all the skills in the world, but the thing about it, I was born with this. So people could identify it, and fighters can identify it, coaches can identify it. And when they see it and they know, yeah, that's right. That's why I got 7, 8 years on YouTube and Facebook of my fight show, breaking fights down round by round, like in the description ahead. Tag somebody, make sure that they see this post, because what I tell you will work during that fight. Because if I would have put it out yesterday, someone would have got it to him. You can also do this. You go check a lot of my fight posts, and this is how you can tell who's watching and who's not. Who's really watching? You go see my fight posts, and then you go see how one of the guys perform. You'll always see a consistency. And I know the guys are watching because I have a lot of trainers and coaches that are in my school of boxing. So for those of you who know what I do and how I get down, you know who's following me. You know, we just can't put it out there on Blast Street. We're going to help one of the top fighters right now get ready for camp for a big pay-per-view fight. And I want you guys to understand one thing. We're the best kept secret in the sport of boxing, at Master Boxing YouTubers. So you're just not messing with a talking head. And neither when it comes down to Campbell are you just dealing or talking to a regular guy. He's had the pedigree to be in the ring against guys that are elite and come away with the gold medal. And when you do that, you understand that you never stop improving. That's kind of what it is. That's all I got for right now. We getting ready to get it locked and watch the fight. I want you guys to share the post. Make sure you put it in some of those boxing groups. A lot of people want to chop it up with me. And over here on YouTube, you make sure you subscribe to Master Boxing across the board. Until next time, check us out for the post-fight. It's going to be on YouTube. So the link's in the description to subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to check us out. If you want to continue to learn more about amazing tips and pointers in boxing or join our School of Boxing online, simply follow us at Master Boxing across the board. Go up to the website and get it popping with us. Lomachenko, Campbell, who you got, how it looks. Don't just drop who you got. I'm out of here. Be blessed at God's speed. Peace. YouTubers, I love it. And everybody over here at Facebook.